So I got to get this part of the conversation. One of the other videos you were saying that in a past life, you found out through hypnotic regression, in a past life you were a pioneer.
Yes, I came from the East Coast.
From the East Coast.
And traveled in the covered wagon days to the West Coast.
All the way to California.
All the way to California.
And I'm guessing around 1840s or something, because that was when everybody was going out there.
That's right.
And you had a husband and children.
I actually just only the husband at that time when we moved out there.
And this
young.
is in the 1840s.
Yes, 1840s.
So we're talking like, and then you. So the thing you left out the last time is that the person who was your husband in that lifetime
we were
became
together again.
someone you were together with again.
Right.
In this lifetime.
In this lifetime. Well, this is the really interesting part, because we couldn't figure out some synchronicity things that were going on. First of all, was he mentioned something to me when we first started dating. He said, I don't know why I feel this need to want to hurt you. And he was not an abusive person. He was not in any way someone that I would fear. And he's, a very gentle person. So it didn't make sense. That was one. The other was that he had planned to possibly move to California, and instead he decided we were just going to drive or fly out to San Francisco, buy a van that his boss had at his other location in San Francisco, and drive it back to the East Coast. So we actually did that in this life.
That is weird.
I know. And, the whole thing with how we got together and how it was so ironic that we both moved to Connecticut around the same time. So it's weird timing-wise when we landed, so that we were in the vicinity of each other. And then his father's business was a wine store, but they also provided sodas for the company I worked for. So he would bring the sodas in and drop them off in our office. And he wore this incredible cologne, and all the women in the office just went into that room after he left and just smelled the room.
Really?
Crazy. But at any rate, it was funny. But he was not bad looking either. I mean, he had that, what is it?
Easy on the eyes?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme look-alike.
Totally.
Oh.
If I
Was he French?
Yes.
Okay, that's
even
French.
That too.
He's
so,
French.
Right. So anyway.
The accent and everything.
The accent and everything. Yeah. But the funny thing was, his dad was part Swedish, and his mother was German. But they grew up in France, so they're both German.
Very
French.
Diverse.
Yeah, English. Yeah, very diverse. But it was just really funny. His accent was a little funny because of the German and the French together. So
that's interesting.
At any rate, so the funny part came when, we were together for like 2-3 years, and it was, we were engaged, but things just weren't going well for some reason. He was, I don't think, ready. So it was fine, I asked a psychic when I went to this fair with a friend, and she said, oh, just go to someone and talk to her about whatever. So I did, and I sat down, and she said, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, my relationship is just not going very well, and I don't know why. And she said, okay, let's just do a past life reading and see what's going on, whatever. So I said, okay, fine. So I didn't tell her anything, nothing. She said, you and he had been together before.
We must have told her something. There was a he involved.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true, but that time.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Sometimes
like
they're really good at asking questions, but.
Yeah, she didn't ask me anything.
That's
she
great.
didn't ask me anything. So that's how I knew she had some, credibility there. And the things she said were right on target. So,
that's good.
Yeah.
I went to one time, and she was like, it was down in New Orleans, and I don't, she's one of those late in the night, still trying to get people to do palm reading.
Oh, gosh.
Missing all your teeth.
Oh, man. She was like one of those
kind of
really
crackheady.
ones. Oh, God.
Methy, kind of, and
Those are
I'm like,
scary.
yeah, what the heck, I don't know if I really want to follow the advice of that particular one. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine.
No, just kidding.
Well,
That was I don't do them very often, but I've been thinking about it.
it's very fascinating, I think. And you know, if you get someone who's really credible, that and they validate things for you that you did not tell them, you did not in any way, shape, or form, they would not know it. If they validate it, then they're good.
Yeah, I agree.
She validated. One of the big things she validated and cured me of was my my absolute abhorrence of mushrooms.
Yeah, that's what you were
That
saying.
was funny, and I had no idea where I'd gotten that from. I came into this life with that and didn't know why. So she told me in this life that the life was hard. You know, you traveled from the east to the west, settled, had a house and a farm and a bunch of kids, and it was exhausting. And somehow, some way, I ate a poisonous mushroom and I died, and I wasn't sorry I was leaving. So, yeah,
Wow.
that was how that went.
Yeah, you weren't sorry. You were like, okay, I'm dying,
Yeah,
but
this is okay,
the
you know.
next life's gonna be better.
Yeah,
This one
yeah.
was rough.
This was a rough life, so I
Wow.
really was ready to go. And it's sad because I think, you know, there had to be children that were left. So I have children from the other past that could be descendants walking around today. So
Maybe
if
they
you
stayed
really
in
think
California.
about that, you never know.
That
But
is
I have-
interesting.
yeah.
Then in that way, it's like we kind of are all related.
Right, exactly. I totally believe that. In some way, shape, or form. We are. And so she, let's see what else happened. So when she did that, she unlocked, it was like immediately, she unlocked the thing about the mushrooms, and all of a sudden, the next time I had a mushroom, I was able to eat it. And I
Wow.
didn't have a problem with it. I had no problem at all with it.
Wow.
And I love them now. So that was the funny thing. And I told you that I was born with a birthmark
That looks like a mushroom.
that looks like a little white mushroom.
Yeah.
And it's on my side of my stomach. And, you know, they say,
And
of
I
course.
have seen that from
You
a
have seen it.
crop, tiny little crop picture,
Tiny little crop picture.
and it looks like a mushroom. It does.
It's so funny.
Make that a logo.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, after that, I was astounded, and she told me all about this stuff, and it was so much that was right on target with us traveling from the east to the west in this life. And the feeling of going out to California and settling there with him was a little unsettling. I think I felt a little unsettled by that, but the
Wow.
prospect, it was kind of exciting, but then again, I just didn't feel it was going to happen, and it didn't, so that was a good thing. The one other thing that was fascinating was that years later, I flew out to California because my sister had moved to California and lived in LA. We went golfing, and up on the hills, you could see the kind of scrubby brush on the hillside, and an overwhelming sadness came over me there, and I couldn't figure out why. I mean, it was beautiful. There was no reason for me to feel that.
Wow.
But the sadness I felt seeing the scrub brushed, sparse land on those hills brought back a memory. And that's part of that life. I truly believe there was something to that I must have seen that in that life. It was
Could be.
very a sad life, maybe. I don't know, sad time. But yeah, it really made an
Yeah.
impression on me. And every time I'll see it even on TV, and it'll still bring that same feeling back to me. So there was something significant about the California life for me. It
Yeah.
was not all I did. But anyway, that was a big.
That's very interesting. So this guy, and so you were saying this guy, he said he didn't know why, but he felt like he just was
wanted to hurt
angry.
me.
He wanted to hurt
Yeah.
you.
And I
Oh.
only classify
Well.
that being true if he had some unrepressed or repressed feelings from another time, and his anger that I left would bring about something that he didn't understand, why he would feel compelled to hurt me because he was hurt.
Well, that was definitely one of those red flags that,
Yeah. And I was like,
why would you say that?
mhm.
Unless,
And I mean, he never laid hands on me, never ever did anything that would, you know, physically hurt me. So, yeah. But I had to say it must have been about the past life thing.
Yeah. Well,
And he would
some
not.
people, yeah, some people. He didn't believe it.
No,
You
he
were telling him
wouldn't.
about
I
it.
never told him.
Oh, you
To
never
this day,
told him.
he doesn't know. That's the ironic
Yeah,
part.
I
don't know if I told him he would believe me. So
I can't say, you know, I'm 100% on like everything from past life stuff. You know, I think I might have mentioned I've had a lot of dreams that were very real, and I was different people in them.
yeah.
Male, female, black, white, Asian,
You've lived many lives.
Swedish or something,
Yeah.
like Norwegian or something.
Right. Oh yeah.
Like so many of these dreams, but some of them were connected. But you know,
It's interesting.
I'm
And I
not
believe we
100%
all-
on whether that's past life stuff or just some sort of weird astral projection-y kind of thing. Because I wasn't any particular person. Like I said, I was all these different kind of people, but I could be anybody, like anybody in the scene, and none of this was dreamlike. It was all very realistic. You know, I could feel surfaces. These were some really amazing dreams, most lucid dreams ever. But and then I could pop in and out. I could pop in and out of anybody I wanted to. I mean, but it just kind of happened. Sometimes I'm like, well, why am I popping out now? Like, why am I popping out now? Like, I didn't want to pop out.
Right.
But all of a sudden I'm out and I'm watching these two people talk. And then I'm like, boom, I'm in the other person now. Looking through their eyes, feeling things with their fingers and feet.
Really
The fire, you could feel the fire.
Right.
I was like feeling it all. And when the one girl, you know, I was following and I popped in when she got to this water and she stuck her feet in there and she was up to her, like past her knees in this water, digging in this muck with her feet and pulling up these like weird bulbs, plant bulb things or something for food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
This was like way back in the prehistoric times or something.
Oh, right.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not totally prehistoric.
Well, you know you're in a past life vision when you see, you know, you look at your feet, you look at the kind of shoes you have on, you look at what you're wearing, you look at the surroundings around you, and if it looks totally like something from the past, which I had a past life regression, and the little girl that I was in another life, I was a little girl and I had this blue kind of print dress with a white apron on, and I had these old scrubby brown shoes on, leather shoes, and I was kind of sandy blonde, and my parents were there and they were kind of fussing and arguing, and I was feeling a little sad. So I was looking at myself in the mirror, and then I went outside, and you know, in the room that I was in, I could tell it was like a cabin. So it was brown wall wood slats, and very old time. And I walked outside, and it was dirt. You know, it was dirt, and you know, it was very old time. So when you have a dream, not a dream, but when you have past life vision like that, you can pretty much bet that that's about right. Because would you ever think of yourself with those old shoes on?
No.
Would you ever think of the dress? You could see the print on the dress.
I wouldn't imagine ice cold water around my knees either, you know, things like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
you
be
can
digging,
feel it.
I wouldn't be putting my toes in muck, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
Why would I do that?
way you know
Why would I
yourself
want to
today.
dig in muck with my toes in this ice cold water?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very fascinating.
Yeah, it's very, I don't know if it's past life related or just, I just happen to be able to pop in and out of different people in these dreams from some, I don't know, it's
Astral
weird,
projection.
like an astral projection thing. But if you think about it, this is really interesting, right? Like when people are talking about time travel or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's say this is kind of like that, but because you're in my case, I wasn't just remembering something, or was I? I wasn't just. Seems like I wasn't just remembering something. I was actually like able to like pull out like as a disembodied like soul or something and watch things happen, and then go into different people and come back out and go back in. I could go all the way up and see it from like an airplane high view, or right back down like that and be inside of like this hut with these people around the fire. I could be in the fire if I wanted to. I was. A couple times I went into the fire because they were burning bones in the fire to scratch the black stuff off to make like a tattoo stuff.
Oh, ink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, boom, I was right down there in the fire looking at it, like, what are they doing? You know, like, how could I do that?
Yeah, that's.
If I had it was like a disembodied soul thing.
Yeah.
Just like
a spirit was.
Consciousness or something. It was really neat.
Fascinating.
It was really neat.
That's amazing.
And that was a recurring one that just kept going for weeks. And turned into, you know, it was connected to this other dream of these people on a boat, or there were a lot of boats actually. They were kind of like Viking type people or something, but I don't really know for sure if they were Vikings or, but they were European looking. I don't know about Viking type. I just some blonde hair, some red hair there. I don't know. But anyway, they were up to no good. You know.
Yeah, those days
Yeah.
about right.
Oh, that was really interesting. But the only really regression I've ever, let's see, 2 regressions
We
I've
should
done.
record a regression.
Yes.
Can we do
Yeah,
that?
let's do that.
Okay.
When you want to do it.
When you're free next.
Right now?
Well, right now I don't have my script.
Oh,
So.
okay.
But that's
when-
okay. We'll have to do that. We'll have to
when-
plan it and record it.
The 2 I did, it felt just like those dreams, which I had had many years earlier. The 2 regressions I did, the first time I did it was in my class, hypnosis class, and the doc did that for everybody, and we all just listened to him. And then I was like in this, I think I told you about this, I was this skinny, real skinny, bony, brown old man with this white hair and a beard, and he had like his hair, it was real wiry, and he had like his hair in a top knot, and like I can't even assign a like ethnicity to this person. This was like a different kind of, it was like kind of Ethiopian-y, kind of Iranian-ish, like somewhere in between.
In between, yeah.
And he was teaching all these little brown children, and everybody was butt naked. All the kids. The only person that had clothes on was the old man, and all he had on was like a little pouch tied around his stuff and a little.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that was it. And he was teaching these kids, and he was teaching a formal like education class of some kind. Like he was like explaining everything. He was like catching little things, and he was talking to them and showing them all the different, like teaching them like classes, like survival maybe. I don't know.
And the very fascinating thing is that you are now a teacher in this life too, or have been.
For 12 years a Hebrew teacher, 12 years ESL English teacher.
Yeah, that's very fascinating. I think we do come back and we have little bits and pieces of each life with us in some capacity. I've been told that I've had in the days of Egypt and those days that I was a rune teller, runes.
Oh, like a fortune teller.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, and that I drew runes. And I tried to look at them and see if there was any impression that I got.
Oh, you were seeing them when you were seeing yourself doing it.
I actually was told this.
Oh, you were told
I was told it. So this is another past life regression psychic.
So you weren't like
So I wasn't
seeing it
myself
like
in
as
a
if
past
you were
life.
hypnotized.
No.
Okay.
But
By the way, that's the cool thing is that when you are hypnotized, you can like be there.
yeah,
And see
you
the
are there. You are
Like,
like
it's really
looking
amazing.
through the eyes of the person that you used to be, and
Yeah.
that's really cool. And you
Yeah.
feel the sensations and thoughts and everything about that time of who you were then. So I think it's really cool.
I mean, everything, the sounds, it sounds like you're there. Everything just is like you're there.
Yeah, it does.
But what happened? I'm sorry to interrupt. What about your?
Oh,
so you went to a psychic.
I went to a psychic, and I don't know why. I don't even remember when, but she told me. And we used to do runes because they tell me today, even when I see it, I talk to a psychic. They say, "Well, why do you need a psychic? Because you're a psychic too, and you could do this yourself."
Really?
And I say, "I know, but I go to you for confirmation."
That's good.
I want confirmation. Is this truly what I'm feeling, sensing, and understanding? Now, I also can foretell the future a little bit. And I had a dream the other day that really kind of freaked me out. So I'm sitting there at, not on a park bench, but in front of a building, like some kind of government building. And I sensed that I was not here in Kentucky. I was like in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And whoever it was that was speaking up in front, and I was a part sort of somehow of the entourage of this thing, this government official that was very important, and he was speaking. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh wow, I can't believe I'm sitting right up front and can see everything, and I'm looking around, and I said, oh, maybe I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be up here, but no, why not? So anyway, this is all going on in my head in a dream, and at the same time I turn around and I look up and I hear and see a beam, like I don't know, what is it called? Like I just went blank totally, but any kind of beam,
A beam.
laser beam.
A laser
like a
beam.
laser beam coming from the sky and demolish the building.
Of
Picture.
laser beam?
Picture Independence Day.
Okay, because that's exactly what I pictured.
That's exactly what I saw.
Did you have this dream after watching Independence Day?
No, I haven't seen that movie in a very, very long time.
Okay.
But this out of the blue comes up.
A
Then I
laser
see
beam.
up in the sky.
And does it hit the White House like in the movie?
No, it doesn't hit the White House, ironically, but it hits this brown building that was down the street, and it was like, oh my God, what's going on? And then this other beam, it was a big cloud, like almost a donut-shaped cloud, and out of the middle comes another beam, not too far from where we were. So of course we all scattered, and there was a girl that was part of the government office building there, and she said, come with me. And me and another person, another guy, we went down in the basement to hide. And down there, I'm like, oh my God, I better call my mom to let her know I'm okay. So I call my mom, and I'm hearing her voice in my dream as I'm talking to her, telling her, I'm okay, are you okay, are you fine? Yeah, nothing's happening here. So I said, okay, let me get off so I can, not be trapped by this Wi-Fi. So I'm like, okay, when I woke up from this dream, I'm looking at the news like, okay, what's going on? Is there anything happening out here in the world? Is there any kind of, explosion somewhere? The only thing that happened just, was it yesterday or today? It was a volcano.
A volcano.
A volcano.
Yeah.
And there was a big cloud in the sky that the volcano created.
Was it a circle like a donut?
It was kind of a big kind of apple fritter donut.
Okay.
It wasn't the circular
Not a
one,
quite,
but
not
quite
the,
the
not
donut.
a bagel.
Not quite that formation, but I was like, oh wow,
Wow.
that's interesting. So that's the closest something to it, but I'm still watching.
Now I've had
Still
dreams.
watching
I mean, I don't know. Dreams like where a laser beam shoots down from the sky.
It was pretty weird.
I don't know. That might. I've had some future dreams.
I have too.
Two of them. That more than two, but one I was in like the manager, some guy in Sweden or some Scandinavian place, because the language I could kind of get, understand a little bit, because I had studied Norwegian a little bit.
Wow, how about that?
But it wasn't Norwegian. I mean, but it was similar to that. And this was in the future, and this guy was a really tall guy, and there were people there that were working there, and he was taller than everybody else. They were speaking their language, Scandinavian, but I was looking through his eyes. But then I could pop out and see him, you know, compare him to everybody else, and pop back in. And I never popped back in to anybody except that guy in that dream. But it was a giant warehouse filled with robot stuff. Like the robots would take stuff off of like here and there, and there were cold freezer areas and dry areas, and basically it was a vending machine restaurant.
Oh,
It was so cool.
how cool is that?
So yeah, this guy, there's this huge warehouse, but in the front of it, where you normally might have like a lobby or offices for a warehouse, there's this beautiful restaurant, huge beautiful restaurant that kind of like goes across the whole front of this warehouse, in this gigantic warehouse again, and a person could go in there and order anything, like, so they have everything categorized, and it's all electronic. So you're like, okay, category, I want Middle Eastern food today. Category, I want Thai food today, or whatever it is. And then they'll give you the list of all the things that are from that. You could get food from anywhere in the world. And you can even make your own, right? Where you could like put things together for a meal you want specifically. And then these robot things will like, and grab all these these ingredients. Some of them are frozen, some are fresh, but most of it is warehoused in frozen or dry goods or canned of some kind. And then the robots would pull everything together to the kitchen, and real cooks would cook it. But they would get like a thing that says what they're cooking. They're specially trained or whatever, chefs or whatever. And different ones have different specialties. So if some more people want Thai, that guy's getting hit harder today. More people want Middle Eastern food, that guy's getting hit harder today. Or that crew. And then they cook all that stuff up. And then it gets delivered to the house, gourmet, or into the restaurant. Like you can get, they've got like,
you could call and
you can call and say what you want, and these warehouses can give you any kind of food you want. You want biscuits and gravy?
You were hungry that night,
You
weren't
want biscuits and gravy? You want whatever, you know? You want beans and mash and bangers and mash, or whatever you can think of, they'll have it. That was really cool. So it's a giant vending machine restaurant.
That's really, really cool, and you know, I believe it could be something in the future. Seriously, I believe it. Okay, mine was, I saw UFOs.
Okay.
And I've seen this
In
so
your dream.
many times, in the dream.
Yeah.
And it was so vivid and like real, but totally realistic. And I was just like, wow, you know, in awe of them hovering right in front of me, you know, out there in the sky. And I was like, this is so amazing. Oh my gosh, should we go and take cover, or should we just, you know, watch them, and will they do anything? You know, all these thoughts running through your head. But I've actually seen a real UFO sitting in the sky.
Yeah, I've seen some weird stuff, but if it's unidentified, I guess it would be a UFO. Yeah, so I've seen some weird stuff a couple of times. Weird stuff. But I don't know.
This is good conversation.
Yeah. So
We'll have to talk more.
very interesting. And then there was another future dream. Where I was like an ATF agent or some soldiery type person. It was kind of like you know, and there was this sort of compound. It was kind of like the Waco thing.
Oh, wow.
And to be honest, the Waco thing had happened before I had this dream.
Oh.
So that could have colored my dream, who knows? But this was very realistic. Again, I was popping in and out of this guy and some of the people he was shooting at. These people were shooting at him. And these other people there, and anyway, I died in that.
Oh, that's not good.
I
I don't
died
think
in that
have I ever died in a dream?
I died in many, over and over dreams. I would die at the end of almost all of them, but I would not be me. I would be someone else dying, and I would get to see what it was like to die through their eyes.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. All the time that I get to that point where something's going to happen, I wake up. It's like something
I just
saves
go
me
ahead and
from
die,
having
and it doesn't bother me because it's not me, it's somebody else.
Right. Well, usually it's me in
my
my dream
dream.
that happens. It's like, I don't want to see that. No, I don't
And
want
then
that to happen.
another one, I was in some kind of like weird flying thing,
Yeah.
that I got down onto my knees and went into, I think I told you about this, and then
No.
I picked up,
No.
it was kind of oval shaped, like a big long egg thing,
Oh.
but it was like a car, kind of. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah,
had-
you did
and
tell
I
me
got my
about
knees
that.
down to the little
Yeah,
position for the
yeah.
knees. I stood where my feet were supposed to go. I went down on my knees and I laid down and my arms went down inside.
Right.
And then up and I took off. The top closed over me.
Wow.
And it was like a virtual reality thing, sort of, because I'm plugged my face onto this virtual reality screen thing. But I can see all around. I can see everything, and I'm flying, but it's avoiding objects on its own. It's really cool.
Really, really neat.
And then that one went to, I don't know if I should tell the end of this one, it's pretty sad. Went to like a old farm barn place, but this place has become like a desert. But it looked like it used to be a big farm. Like, what are they growing? It's a desert. It's ridiculous. Like, but it's a big farm, you know, with all the stuff, but it's really old, and there's people down by this river. And I land amongst where some of these other things that people had flown there were, and even some old cars were there that looked like now time cars. And but all the people were down by the river, and I went down with them, and I was waiting for people, and they're all just there, everyone's all freaking out. And then all of a sudden they get up like a big group, like, you know how birds all move at the same time? The whole thing just got up. All these people, thousands and thousands and thousands, started moving towards the water from both sides of the river to get into the water. Like, what the heck is going on? Because I'm just along for the ride in these dreams. I'm not like, I don't know what's going on in any of these dreams. I'm just like along for the ride, like an observer. And then everybody like looks back to this one side, and I look back, and then there's this big bright flash on the horizon, and then this huge like shock wave thing comes, and everybody gets boiled in the water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was
pretty
crazy.
creepy. That's awful. Oh my God. Well, we do have some very vivid dreams, and it is something that we just have to live through, I guess. I don't
Live
know.
through the
Live
dreams?
through the dream.
They don't really bother me. Those dreams don't bother me, like I said, because it's not me dying.
Right,
Every
it's
time somebody
somebody
dies,
else.
the worst
So you
one.
didn't see you in that dream at all?
Never. I'm never in any of them.
That's amazing.
One time I got shot in the head by a Nazi.
Oh
in one dream.
no, really? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you think you were Jewish in the dream?
Like I said, I could pop in and out of people, so I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I was actually in the person who was hiding under the bench,
Oh.
and then I popped into the Nazi guy.
Oh.
And I didn't say it, he said it. But he's like, you know, you're the worst kind of all, or something like that, and they shot him in the head.
Oh my God.
But I popped back into the guy that got shot before he got shot
Oh wow.
to experience that, I guess.
How interesting. Your dreams sound like you have past life dreaming, but you are those other people, but you're dreaming that you're them, but you're just the spirit of you
Maybe.
popping into those different lives.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought a lot about it. Like, am I just seeing maybe we're everybody. Maybe maybe we really are just all connected.
Yeah. One big collective spirit, and we're all here living a different life to experience different scenarios. And we go back when we die, and we bring back what we learned, and we either go on to the next level if we've done good, if we've done the right things and contributed in a positive way.
Yeah.
Who knows?
In Judaism, in some circles in Judaism anyway, I don't know if everybody thinks the same way, but from the mystics and everything, a soul can be in more than one body at the same time.
I did that too.
Or there are also times when a body can have more than one soul at a time.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that is, I believe all that's true, but you know, it's interesting. And reincarnation is accepted. You know, that does in Judaism.
Right.
Not for everybody, but, you know, some people.
That's really something. Well, oh yeah. It is such a mystery that it's exciting to be here on this planet at this time, and we all came here at a certain time for a reason. So we came into this existence at this time to experience all the things we've experienced, and I think it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, we are experiencing reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're kind of like the nerve endings of the universal consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
We're like the
Right.
taste buds of God,
Right.
sampling
Checking
everything,
this,
checking
that.
things out.
Yeah, that. Totally believe that.
All part of the same giant
Totally.
universal consciousness, all connected, all one.
And we are.
Well,
Thanks. This is fun again.
That's a good stopping point. All right, that was fun.
Yeah, this is really a great.
I think